Hey everybody, it's Eric alongside Rod. Delighted to introduce the guest for today's show on the Final Four on the schedule, 2025-26 recruit, Jordan Scott. Thanks for joining us, Jordan.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So Scott is a 6'8", 195-pound wing from Reston, Virginia, who plays for South Lakes High School, the same school where his mother, Christy Winters Scott, who people might be familiar with if you watched any women's basketball. She won a state title and is currently the girls' basketball coach. Uh, Jordan Scott's a top 50 rated recruit and signed with Michigan State in mid-October, and he'll join Cam Ward, who we had on earlier, next year in East Lansing.
Mhm. Yeah,
And we'll kick
sorry
it
to
over.
interrupt, but my mom was actually the former head coach for the
Oh,
girls' side.
okay. Thank you for the correction. You know, the Wikipedia, well, you can't trust it, right? Okay. Well, we're more interested in you, anyways, to be honest. So, all right, okay, why don't you get us off going, Rod?
Okay. Again, thanks for joining us, Jordan. Eric mentioned you're part of what's currently, and I think probably likely to stay, a two-man high school class for Michigan State, and you just played Cam in what was a very tightly contested game. We talked to Cam maybe about a week and a half, I think, before that game, and
Mhm.
he was looking forward to it very much and was of course very confident that his team would win, and I believe they did end up winning in a very tightly contested game. um, First thing, how much fun was that? Because it's not the usual thing that two guys in a recruiting class get to play each other in a high school game before they become teammates. So what was that like? Did you have a lot of fun with it?
I mean, yeah, it was awesome. I had a lot of fun. I mean, up to the very end, obviously, but
Right.
the build up to it, was planned 2 years in advance because it got canceled the year before. So
Right.
knowing that we were both going to go to Michigan State, having this game on the schedule, I was definitely looking forward to it, and I had a pretty fun time just until the end.
And he mentioned you guys have known each other for quite a while,
Mhm.
going back many years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the game? As we mentioned, your team came up just short. Both of you won state championships last year in Virginia and Maryland, respectively. So, what were your thoughts on the game and the way you played and the way he played?
Yeah, I think for my end, I think I definitely could have played a little bit better in that game. I missed a few bunnies that I could have made, and in a 1 point game, those bunnies start adding up.
Sure.
Also with free throws too, missed a few free throws, but I think from like the start of that game, I think they brought the intensity, and we had to catch up and match that from the beginning of the game. But Cam played well. I think he had like 25 and 10 or something like that, some double double. So yeah, he played great too.
Did you guys guard each other much?
Yeah, we were. Well, my team likes to switch a lot, so sometimes I'll be the primary match, and we went zone a little bit in that game too. But I would be guarding him a few times, and he guarded me too.
Yeah, well, that it sounds like you're going to be well prepared for what you're coming into next year. Then, if your team switches a lot,
Yeah.
as I'm sure you know, that's kind of the rule at Michigan State.
Mhm.
Yeah, certainly with you guys playing each other. And have you guys played each other for quite a bit? And because you mentioned that your mom is very involved in AAU and sort of getting those set up in the DMV. Did you guys play each other in AAU, or were you ever on the same teammates?
No, we were never teammates, but when we were younger, we used to play each other a lot during like our elementary school years. When he played Team Durant, I played Nova '94. We would play each other like basically like every weekend. It felt like, but more towards like the middle school, high school time, we never really played with each other or against each other.
And just a quick follow up on that. Part of that reason is, if I remember correctly, what circuit was your AAU team on? Were you on the Under Armour circuit, or was it
Yeah,
more of a grassroots?
yeah, I was Under Armour and he was Nike, so
Okay, so that explains a lot of it then.
yeah.
And so, your team last year won the state title in Virginia. Uh, how are you guys doing this year? Do you plan? I mean, you're obviously defending it. Do you guys think you have a reasonable chance at repeating, or what are your situation?
I think we always have a chance at repeating this year. That's my motto throughout the entire year. Obviously, I want to stay confident in my team. We're doing pretty good this year. I think we're something in two. We've only lost 2 games this year. Obviously, one to Largo, then one to Hayfield earlier in the year. But we're up into district play right now, so we're trying to stay locked in and just take it one game at a time.
When do the playoffs start? They start pretty soon then?
I think so. I think they started probably like mid-February, like February
Sure.
16th around that time.
Okay.
Wow, that's really early compared to what we're used to here. They don't usually start until the beginning of March in Michigan. Huh.
Yeah.
Before I get into some MSU questions. And I think some of our listeners are probably aware of this, but likely not everybody. South Lake has, before you, one very, very famous basketball alum, somebody that a lot of people in Michigan know, in Grant Hill. Have you had much contact with him since you've been in high school? Have you ever met him?
Yeah, I've met him a few times. My mom and my dad are really good friends with him. He used to play with my dad when they were at South Lakes, and he's a really good family friend with my mom and dad. So, yeah.
Okay, so you've had a little exposure to him. That's great.
Yeah.
So turning to MSU, and we asked Cam this same question because the DMV obviously has long been one of the great basketball talent producing areas in the country. It's well known for that, but it's not been an area that Michigan State has typically recruited very heavily. In fact, before you and Cam, I think the last guy in the area to come from the DMV to Michigan State was Denzel Valentine's dad, Carlton Valentine. That goes back to like 1982, 1983.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
So
dinosaurs.
it's been a long time. So it's kind of unusual for us Michigan State people to be seeing guys from your neck of the woods coming to MSU. So I guess I'll start with, where did your interest in MSU come from? Was it a program that you had followed growing up, or was it just when they started recruiting you maybe started to take a little more notice of it? How did that all work?
Yeah, it was definitely when they first started taking interest in me. Growing up, I didn't really have like a favorite college team that I followed or anything. I didn't really have like a dream school that I wanted to play at. So just they started recruiting me, I think, going into my sophomore year or something like that. I'm not sure on the timeline, but ever since then, they've always been like kind of at the forefront of the recruiting process, always just being like the top school on my list.
Do you happen to know how they first got interested in you? Was it seeing you in AAU ball, or was there some kind of connection, somebody who was aware of you that made them aware of you? Do you know how that worked?
I'm pretty sure it was first AAU ball. I think that's when I first started watching, and then obviously just went from there, the recruitment.
So besides the fact that MSU was showing a lot of interest in you, what was it that was kind of at the forefront of your mind that led you to decide MSU is the place I want to be, and to commit to them?
Yeah, so it definitely took a lot of thought, and obviously I had a great circle around me guiding me to obviously pick a school, and just going off of MSU's history, Tom Izzo still being the head coach there, which is just amazing, and him being a legendary coach that has proven himself in the game is a really hard person to turn down, Tom Izzo.
So that's the things that we typically hear from recruits, the same things. I'm curious about one thing, and we asked Cam about this too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about the way Coach Izzo recruited you, because the impression that we're always under when we listen to guys talk about that is that it's a little different than a lot of other schools. There are a couple of interviews that Jaron Jackson's done this year where he's talked about the reason that he committed to MSU was in large part down to the fact that Izzo was the only coach who would come watch him play, and if he didn't play well, would tell him that he didn't play well, and would really be criticizing his game, not to beat him up, but to try to help him get better. And at first it struck him as strange, and then he thought, well, wait, he's the only guy who's talking this way. The rest of these guys are telling me, I'm going to come there and I'm going to be the option one in the offense and all of the glad handing stuff. And this guy seems like he's seriously going to help build up my game once I get there. How did Coach Izzo go about your recruitment? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing. Now that I hear that story about Jaron Jackson, that just like brought like memories a little bit. But yeah, he did a lot of home visits, or not home visits, but he came up to my school a few times. He did one home visit. He got to meet my grandma up here. I think he probably was at South Lakes probably like 5 or 6 times, which is
wow.
Which is crazy. And same with Wojcik too. He was like my head recruiter at Michigan State, and he came to watch me work out in the morning, and also came up to school later, like during lunch and stuff. Like Tom Izzo was in my cafeteria eating lunch with me. So.
Yeah, and that's the other part too. We talk about the not afraid to tell somebody the truth kind of aspect for it, but the other thing he's well known for is exactly what you were talking about. just being pretty relentless. That's impressive, though, going all the way to Virginia that often.
Yeah.
Well, if you need a nudge, you want to go to Nudge Printing. Nudge Printing provides all kinds of Spartan apparel, which Jordan obviously won't need because he's going to get piles of it when he gets on campus for him and for his family. But for you, listener, you can head on over to nudgeprinting.com. You can get a large assortment of both vintage and regular logos for Michigan State gear, whether it's a sweatshirt like I got right now, hoodie, t-shirts, hats, whatever you might need. So head on over to Nudge Printing and get 20% off. You type in Final Four just as one word at checkout. All right. So everyone, we always ask people, you never know for sure. I mean, I remember just asking Trey Holland where he thought he'd be in the offense between his freshman and sophomore year. And he's actually, he gave us actually a pretty good idea what it was going to be. Although I don't think, not that we didn't believe him, but we really didn't quite understand how he's answering it until we saw it in practice.
Dead on.
Right. We're like, I don't know. He kind of just not sure if he's gonna be one or the two. And it turns out he was the one and the two. So he was exactly, where do you see yourself and what is your role at MSU? I mean, we were just talking before we came on that you're no longer 6'6", that is listed in lots of places and lots of recruiting places. You'd say about almost 6'8" now. So how do you see yourself being utilized at Michigan State, or where do you see yourself in the offense and defense?
Yeah, so definitely being able to stretch the floor on the perimeter, being a tall guard that can shoot, I think is really valuable. So I think like a 3-2, maybe if we go small ball, maybe like a 4, depending on the lineup and everything. But I think being able to be versatile with that group of people that's going to be there next year, I think I'll be able to fit wherever Izzo thinks I would play best.
Yeah, well, that's always a good answer. Wherever Izzo tells me to go, that's that's
Well,
always the right answer, I think.
And the other part of that I like is, you know, and absolutely correct, is being a wing with some size. I mean, we're looking forward to the Rutgers game on Saturday, and they're going to have to deal with Ace Bailey somehow at 6'10". So you're right, very valuable role.
How much do you see shooting as part of your game? I mean, is that something that Michigan State fans should expect, that you're going to be, are you stretching the floor outside the 3-point line, or where do you see it?
Yeah, that's kind of become my primary like identity recently, I would say. Kind of growing up, I really wasn't a 3-point shooter, and it wasn't like I was like, oh, that guy's a shooter, get up on him like that. But ever since like high school, I've kind of been like known as like the shooter. So I think I would definitely bring that, but I think I have other abilities too. But obviously, I think shooting kind of takes over a lot of those things.
Right.
So,
As long as you're willing to get in the floor, that's all Izzo wants, really.
Mm-hmm.
Do you handle the ball much for South Lakes? Does a lot of the offense run through you?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. On the high school level, I play 1 through 5. So sometimes my coach will help me bring up the ball. Sometimes I'll be posting up, running off a screen, setting a screen. Like I'm pretty much everywhere in the offense.
Little everything. Has MSU talked to you about any kind of ball handling responsibilities? Is that kind of part of what you expect to be doing a little bit?
Maybe a little bit, because I know next year we're gonna have amazing point guards and guards coming back, so I might not be needed as much as another role, but I would definitely be able to have that capability if things were to get like mixed up or anything, maybe bring down the ball.
Gotcha. And then if there was one thing you could point to as an area that you feel that you need to improve on, what would that be?
I would say getting quicker and stronger. Going into the Big Ten next year, got to be able to defend. So that's going to be the major thing before I head up to Eastland.
Good answer. That's the stuff that seems to be from years and years and years of watching Big Ten basketball. That's the stuff that tends to be the biggest adjustment. It's what people talk about, at least, is exactly that. So how closely have you been following MSU's team this season, and what do you think about the way they've been playing?
I think they've been playing great so far. I know they're at the top of the Big Ten, undefeated in conference play. And I think they're 8 right now in the country. And hopefully they get to push up that ranking a little bit higher. But, yeah, they've just been playing amazing. I've been following them really closely. I've been watching as many games as I can. Sometimes we have a little bit of a schedule conflict when I play and they play. But if I'm not playing, then it's definitely on the TV.
So, I mean, we've just talked about it a little bit. But, I mean, when you watch them, I imagine you must be thinking about how you're going to fit in next year once you're up in East Lansing. And as you say, we're hoping that a lot of this team is going to be back. So when you look at it and you think about it, you envision yourself as that big wing kind of a guy who's going to be asked to provide some perimeter scoring, that type of thing, or is there something else that you're kind of focused on in terms of your fit for next year?
No, I think it's definitely like that. When I watch them, I kind of watch it like almost like a scouting report, like seeing like how they run through their offense, seeing how I could place myself right there, what read I would make in that decision, everything. So it's kind of like watching like the little things like that.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to do a couple rapid fire questions if you're ready.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. These pieces. All right. So favorite food, favorite meal?
Pasta.
Pasta. Any kind, do you like meat in it or just like marinara sort of like?
I'll go pesto.
Okay. Wow, pretty fancy.
Chicken pesto.
Chicken pesto. Okay, there you go. All right. Favorite, best player you played against so far?
Cam Ward.
Oh, smart move.
Wow.
He might give you the nicest bed in the dorm room when you guys are together.
There's a guy who is ready for interviews. Fantastic answer.
So if you weren't playing basketball, what's your next best sport? Track. What do you
run track in high school?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I've been thinking about doing it after every basketball season, but I've kind of let that fall through. But maybe this year, since I won't have any like high school workouts and stuff like that, so I might, but it might fall through. But I don't know yet.
Did you play lots of other sports when you were little?
Not at all. I played baseball for 1 year, hated it, and then I somehow ended up playing another year after that, and then after that, it was just basketball all the way through.
Yeah, for someone who used to play basketball, baseball is definitely a way slower pace, right?
Yeah, it was way too slow.
All right. So, what do you plan to major in it when you get at Michigan State?
I haven't decided yet.
Undecided. All right, there you go. And who's your favorite all-time basketball player?
All-time basketball player, Kobe.
Okay. The correct answer is your mom. I think that was what it's supposed to be. She sent along. She said, "Make sure he's." Do you have a lot? So she's Maryland Terp, right? Did your dad play college basketball, or did he just play high school?
He played in college too. He played at Miami.
Okay. So how was the recruitment with them as far as, looking at Maryland's obviously close by. Miami's not. So how was it for them as the recruitment as far as looking at other schools like Maryland, Miami?
Yeah. I don't think either of them. I don't think Maryland was my mom's dream college. Excuse me. Or Miami was my dad's dream college either. I know my mom got recruited heavily. She told me a bunch of mail letters would always be in the mail sitting on the counter when she got home, and it would just be like crazy during that time because there was no phones, no social media or anything like that. So then I think it was between Maryland. She's gonna hate me for not remembering what it is, but
that's all right.
Yeah, but for my dad, I know it was Georgetown, GW, and Miami. I think were his top three.
Okay. And we talked to Jason Richardson, his dad, Jason Richardson, played obviously NBA but he was totally hands off when it came to the recruitment process. I mean, aside from just offering advice, if Jace asked him a question, is that kind of how your parents were like, we're not going to try and steer you in any particular direction?
Yeah, they were like that. Obviously they gave me like some like insight, like they were on the visits, seeing how the coaches were interacting with me, seeing all the players and everything like that. But ultimately, they didn't pressure me to go to any one school, and they let it be my decision.
What was your impression when you went to and saw Michigan State's facilities? I mean, I've seen them compared to other places.
I was blown away when I went in there. Obviously, so much better than my high school gym. It's the first thought I had.
Yeah.
But I saw their weight room, recovery room, practice facility, and their main gym is just like state of the art. So.
Well, yeah. You took an official to MSU last year, right? Were you only on one official, or did you take two?
I only took one official, and I think I took like 3 unofficials. I think I'll have to go back on that timeline.
Yeah,
I know it was like a bunch.
On any of your visits, were you actually at games?
I went to. No, I was not. I was there for the Midnight Madness twice, and then I watched them play Maryland last year, but that was at Maryland.
Okay, so you've never been to an actual live game at the Breslin yet, huh?
I don't remember, but I feel bad if I did, and I can't remember right now. But I don't think I have. No.
I'm assuming your schedule probably is not going to allow you to make it out here this year.
Yeah, probably not. but depending on like how the season ends up and everything, I might be able to go up there. But I know they play Maryland here late February, and I'll be at that one. I think it's on a Sunday or late Saturday night. So
Yep.
we go to that one.
Yep. Okay. Well, that'll be really interesting for you come next November when you get to see what that's all about in person for the first time.
Yeah.
I guess you've seen Midnight Madness, so that's definitely something. But yeah, it'll be different. With the playing before the zone and stuff like that. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Do you have anything else, Rod?
No, I think that was all we had.
All right. Well, George Scott, thank you so much. And I just want to quick plug our other sponsors. Obviously, the Brothers Adjust Your Gutters. So if you need gutter work done in the state of Michigan, even in sub-zero temperatures, these guys will get out on the ladder so they don't fall. So you don't have to and fall and go end up in the emergency room. So let those guys do, the professionals do it. So you don't have to. You get 10% off. You mentioned Final Four. You can find ways to connect with them at our support page. The Final Four is on theschedule.com/support. And also the Swedish Squad of Grand Rapids. Again, not exactly the weather you think about when you're thinking of cleaning your windows right now, since it'll just be ice in your windows, but they can come in and do some interior painting for you as well. And again, 15% off if you mention Final Four when you get connected with them, and you can do that at our support page as well. So George Scott, thank you again for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. We're looking forward to seeing you in East Lansing. And I guess I do have one question. So a couple maybe now that I think about it. The Michigan State player that bugged you the most was during the recruiting process. Who sent you the most text messages and was trying to get you to come?
The most. I don't know. I don't know if I could pick one, but I know on my visit, my main recruiter was Jesse McCulloch, so he was bugging me a little bit when I was up there.
Oh,
oh yeah, okay, yeah, great kid. We had him on too. Who's looking forward to watching him play next year, and then obviously playing with almost for sure rooming with Cam Ward. Did you guys communicate before you both committed to Michigan State? Did you know he was going to go there, or did you tell him ahead of time that you're headed there?
We didn't have any like definitive conversation about where we were gonna go, but on our visit, we were kind of like feel each other out, like how are we feeling about it. But I think there were some nonverbal exchanges going on.
Reading body language. Gotcha.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, until next time, the Final Four is on the schedule. Go green.
Go green.
So just go white. You'll get it.
Oh, go green, go white. Yep.
Yeah, not even a freshman. You got it now. You're good. Thanks a lot. Bye.